we'll have this discussion.
Discussion? What discussion?
This is a discussion combustion.
Coming to you from Denver, Colorado. This is Discussion Combustion Podcast with your hosts, Kevin Batstone and Arthur Raw.
It's been kind of gnarly around the city.
Yeah, it has. Actually, though, I thought we were expecting a lot more than what we ended up getting. I mean, we looked outside this morning, and it was like, that's a little disappointing considering it's supposed to be this epic snowstorm. And
Yeah.
flights were canceling all yesterday, and I'm like, maybe a little, oh well.
Yeah, I mean, they definitely overshot it, I think. But most of the major news outlets around were calling like 8 to 12, 5 to 10.
Yeah, I mean, it has been snowing all day, though, so I'm not really sure what the total accumulation is.
I think we hit about 6-7 inches, at least in this part of town. We're in, South Denver Tech Center. But it was slick.
Yeah.
It was definitely slick earlier. I think the roads are improving a little bit now. We're recording this again on a Wednesday night, but I'm sure the Thursday morning commute's going to be slick as well.
Yeah, it wasn't too bad getting over here, but my husband was out there with me. So I have a little story about this snowblower that we have.
Okay.
So he gets this ridiculously sized, commercial size snowblower.
Do you have a big driveway or
No, we don't.
Okay.
And so he actually bought it.
Speed and power.
Yeah, he actually bought it when we lived over in the Northfield area, and I'm like, and we definitely did not have a big driveway then, or really didn't have much sidewalk. Mm-hmm. So I'm looking at this thing, I'm like, why would you buy this? This is a ridiculous piece of equipment.
Comes in handy though.
Yeah. Well, he was like, Kelcy, you need to learn how to use it. And I'm like, no, I don't. I do not need to use that thing. Well, sure enough, he goes out of town for work. I mean, do y'all remember that bomb cyclone blizzard?
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, that happens when he goes out of town.
That was the day we moved into the studio.
Oh my goodness. Okay. So we're FaceTiming, and he's trying to teach me how to work this snowblower, which is just ridiculous. And he's sitting there making fun of me. I'm with the snowblower around, and it's just pelting the house, all the snow.
Okay.
And anyways, that's really the end of that story. But today he was out snowblowing all of our.
Well, did you get it down? Did
yeah,
you
finally.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
and
did.
And be able to adjust where the snow blows.
Yes, I did.
Excellent.
I did. He could see me on the Ring doorbell, just pelting the house.
Slamming snow.
Yeah.
Yeah. Growing up, I had a really shitty one. It was one of those little Toros. And you had to really crank it to change the trajectory of where the snow was going, and you had to put some muscle on that thing. And it wasn't a very good snowblower. I'm sure what they have now is way better. They're on tracks.
I mean, it's pretty great. I mean, honestly, it has heated handlebars,
Oh, yeah. See, that's
and
fancy.
it's really nice. And today he was out there doing all of our elderly neighbors, and
Oh, that's nice.
I know.
I mean, good equipment goes a long way.
And honestly, that kind of selfless act is a fun act because you're, especially when you like to use your tool, right? You're
He loves it.
I'm bringing out my tool.
Oh yeah.
I finally have I have a jump box in my car.
Yeah.
But it's only for a V6 and less. So I'm always looking for a chance to find somebody that's broken down. Is your battery dead? You need to jump? I want to jump somebody's car so bad.
Yeah, what happens when you pull up to a Chevy with a 5.4 or something, and it's
No,
a V8, you're sorry, I got to roll.
No, I tried it. I tried it on one, and it didn't work, and it was one of the most disappointing moments. But fortunately, that was outside of O'Reilly's or something, and fortunately, the guys inside allowed me to try to use mine first.
Yeah.
And they had theirs right there as a backup.
That's fun. That's the way to do it.
Yeah.
That is. We finally even have a jump thing in our cars. We did not have one for the longest time. And a few weeks ago, we were coming back from some vacation, and it was pouring down rain outside. Jonathan had Jackson and all of our luggage. I went to go get the car because I knew the car was parked. It just made the most sense. And I get there, and the car died.
Oh, no.
So we didn't have anything to jump the car with. So here I am, running around the employee parking lot, trying to find somebody that would jump our car. And I finally went up to just one of the employee shuttles that someone was getting. I was like, hey, anybody here have jumper cables that can help me jump my car?
Please.
Somebody had them.
Some really nice United flight attendant came out and was like, yeah, girl, I got you. And I'm like, you're a rock star. It is pouring down rain. It is pouring. But
got to rely on the flight family a little bit.
Had to.
Everyone's got to have each other's back. So we take it back to, what was it, November 7th or 8th? Somewhere in that vicinity.
Something like that.
We were on a flight back, Phoenix, Arizona, coming back from the NASCAR championship. What a great weekend that was.
I'm sure it was.
We had a lot of fun, of course.
I was trying to remember, the time period that I met you guys and, where, I kind of bounce around a lot. So I was kind of trying to remember exactly what flight that was on.
Yep, coming back from Phoenix. So I think it was a Monday night.
Yeah.
Because we had stayed an extra day, visited my family down there, and then hopped on a flight, and you just never knew who you're going to bump into. So
no,
yeah,
you don't.
I think I gave you a sticker while we were sitting down, and then while we were heading out, I always like to give DAP, and then we ended up talking on the train
on the tram,
bit.
yeah, coming in.
Yep. It was actually when you were boarding, and you're like, "Do you listen to podcasts?" And
Oh,
I'm
she
like,
remembers.
Yeah,
Okay.
no, I do. I remember it was like certain conversations with people. Like anyway, you're like, and then you handed me y'all's sticker,
Yeah.
and then literally my next trip, I like found it again in my little pocket.
Yeah,
I was
I'm
like,
there it
"Oh,
is."
there
Remember
it
seeing
is."
your social media posts. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
cool. So yeah, I mean that's what's great about what we do here is you just never know who you're going to bump into, who's going to have an interesting conversation with, and it just happened to take place on an airplane.
You never know.
I've met one of my best friends on an airplane. I do another podcast called Mash the Gas, which is all NASCAR.
Oh, cool.
Met him in Kansas City at the airport, and now him and I are close to best friends. We host a show every week, so that's you just never know who you're gonna bump into.
You never know. I met my husband on an airplane.
There you go.
Yeah.
Good things come on
You were a
airplanes.
flight attendant at the time.
I was,
And
yeah.
he was a passenger?
Yeah.
Okay,
Really?
We got to hear a little bit of
Yeah.
the
Oh, yeah,
story.
let's hear the
Just
juice.
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah.
Like, how did he manage to pull it off? Like, what did he do?
Did he give you a sticker?
What? No, he didn't. No. It was a 6 a.m. flight, actually, from Denver to St. Louis. He was going out there for work. And I was sitting in the front, and he was in the very, very front seat. He had a Boston Red Sox hat on.
Oh, good man.
He's from Boston, or just north of Boston.
I'm from New England.
Really?
Central New Hampshire.
Awesome. Yeah, he's from just a little town out, or just north of Boston, so he's a huge Red Sox fan. And so this was back in 2013 when the Red Sox were in the World Series.
Yes.
And so we were chit-chatting about baseball. And at one point, so I was actually sitting in the front galley, but then my workstation was in the back. He actually came to the back, and we had a good conversation. I don't exactly remember what it was about.
Mm-hmm.
But when he got off the plane, he handed me his business card and said, "Hey, if you want to go skiing with me, give me a call." So a couple days later, gave him a call.
Excellent.
Happened to be the night the Red Sox won the World Series.
So he was all ecstatic.
Well, it was funny. On our engagement party, he was so cheesy. He was like, "Yeah, I won the World Series twice that night." And I'm like, huh. Okay.
I mean, that's clever.
Yeah, no, it was very clever. It was cute. But anyway, I ended up giving him a call, and we played tennis together a week later. And we just kind of like hit the ball around, talked.
Oh, yeah.
And 3 weeks later, we actually were up in Canada skiing.
Oh, fun.
So things moved along pretty quick. You guys hit it off.
Yeah, well, he was just like, I'm going to be up in Canada for work. I'm going to stay through the weekend for my birthday. If you want to come up, I'm going to ski Lake Louise in Sunshine Village. And so my mom is also a flight attendant as well. And I was actually flying with my mom when he asked me that. I was like, hey, so I just met this guy like a week ago at the time. And he invited me to Canada to ski. What do you think? She's like, I think you should go.
Wait, your mom and you have attended the same flight?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we've flown together.
That's
Oh,
pretty cool.
that's fun.
It is
Little
cool.
family event, you
Yeah.
know, a little family work event.
Yeah, no, it's really fun. She's based in Dallas now, unfortunately. But
Okay.
she was based in Denver for a little bit. And so we've really only flown together a couple times or a handful of times, I guess, in my 11, almost 12 years at Southwest.
Wow.
She is senior to me by 5 years.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's kind of fun, though. Southwest, I typically fly Southwest. That's my go-to. Unless I can't get on that flight for that time and, date or whatever, then I'll move it around. But that's usually my first go-to.
Hope you weren't trying to fly during our meltdown.
No. Fortunately, I wasn't. I knew a lot of people that were.
Yeah.
Yeah, what happened? Fill us in on that.
Gosh, it was just a whole mess of things that just snowballed, honestly. I mean, it started with weather. And then, honestly, it just kind of ended up with our technology. And it's old technology, and we're trying. All these flight attendants are everywhere, and they can't, and pilots for one, and trying to get to where they need to go, and trying to call scheduling, and scheduling got so backed up to where people were literally on hold with scheduling for 15 hours, 16 hours, 17
On
hours.
hold? Were people
On hold.
holding that long?
Yes.
Oh, wow.
Yes, on hold.
That's a massive hold.
Yeah, and so then all of a sudden, like, flight attendants and pilots would get like lost in the system. They didn't know where they were. They thought they would get on a flight, and then they weren't there. And so then all of a sudden they've been on duty for 14, 15 hours where they're not legal to work. And say if they're in Buffalo, it's not really an easy place for them to get another flight attendant up there. It was just a mess.
Complete mess.
It was just a complete
What
mess.
city were you in when this was happening?
So when it all started, I actually I hate to say this, I kind of lucked out, but
No, that's just fortune working in your favor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I worked the 21st, 22nd, and 23rd. On the 23rd is when everything kind of started happening, and that ended up being like a 15-hour day for me. So it wasn't. But I got back into Denver. That's when all the snow started really coming down. It's like that ridiculous freeze that we had. That was like
Oh,
negative
yeah.
33 or something.
Oh, yeah, that was bad.
And Denver was closed for a while, and I was just fortunate to get in. And then I was off for Christmas. I was supposed to work the 27th. I was supposed to work a 2-day trip. The entire 2-day trip canceled, and they put a turn on my board. So I went to the airport, I was supposed to work to Steamboat, and like I was the only flight attendant listed on that flight. I'm like, there's no way this flight's going out. Like, so I sat in the airplane for 2 hours. They couldn't find 2 other flight attendants, and then I just went home. That was it.
Wow.
So got paid for the 2-day for sitting on the airplane for 2 hours and going home.
I'm sure
that definitely worked out.
There's got to be a lot of that too, with just the weather and all that stuff. Like just a lot of waiting around, even just in my travel experience.
Yeah.
You've got to be prepared to wait.
Oh, for sure.
Right.
For sure. Especially, Denver. Whether it's in the wintertime with the snow or the summertime with all the rain and the weather.
Yep.
You never know what you're going to get.
So I did have a listener question. One of my buddies that listens in, he knows that we're gonna have a flight attendant on.
Okay.
Tonight.
Oh no.
And he was curious.
Okay.
As far as turbulence goes, like at what point a tenured flyer like yourself, when do you get nervous about turbulence?
To be completely honest, I've never been nervous about turbulence. There's been a couple times that I'm like, oh my gosh, this is like really, really bad.
Pretty intense.
Specifically going into Denver, Vegas, Phoenix, basically the mountain towns that just...
Salt Lake,
exactly. There was one time going into Vegas that we were doing our final walkthrough and we like really hit a bump and I actually flew back and hit my back like on the armrest.
Damn.
And that, I wasn't scared. It just didn't feel good. And there was another time actually that I slammed my fingers into like, we have a wheelchair compartment at the back. And it was open because I forgot what we were doing. I think we were putting our like extra snack baskets in there or something, or our boxes. And we just hit a pocket of turbulence and I had that and I just like slammed my fingers into it.
Oh.
So what is a pocket of turbulence like exactly? Like, is it just like an area, like a pocket of air that's like moving in a different direction, or like I don't.
What's so funny is like the pilots before we start a flight, they'll be like, okay, they'll like show us this map, right, of like where the turbulence is expected and what the weather looks like. So it could be weather, it could be, just pockets of different air. It's funny that you say that. I've never even.
Well, because air is similar to water, right? So I at my apartment, I have like a view where I could see pretty far, and at nighttime, the lights like blink and like shimmer, like they're like that. So it's actually the air moving is what's causing the lights to like flicker in the distance. And on a still night, when the air is super still, there's less flickering.
Right.
And so you kind of like wonder like how these different pockets of air are working to create turbulence.
Well, you think about like even like just like wind and stuff like that, like what wind can cause, what wind can like, so if you're like, flying at 500 miles per hour and you hit different just like air pockets. That's just, little bump pockets. It just kind of causes.
Defying physics a little bit.
Can cause some havoc.
Yeah.
There was one time, I'll take that back. There was one time when we were landing into San Jose.
Okay.
We actually had to like reject the landing.
We
had to go back up. Yeah, we didn't even touch. Like we were about to land and then had to go back up just because we had a wind shear alert, it was bumpy. My gosh. I was sitting there in the back and I was like, whew. I don't necessarily get nervous. I trust our pilots up there. I trust them with obviously my life almost every day, but and they're super skilled, but it's a little unnerving. It doesn't happen often, but.
Yeah. So how about have the masks ever fallen down on one of your flights?
No.
That did happen to me one time coming back from Phoenix, but it was a glitch in the system. It wasn't because of like we changed altitudes too quickly.
Right.
And I remember the captain coming on. He says, don't be alarmed if this happens. And so it did happen, and people started freaking out. But the folks that had earbuds in didn't know what was going on. So looking around, people were kind of losing it a little bit. And I remember the person sitting next to me, like grabbed my hand. Yeah. I was like, well, at least we're going to go down holding hands together. So just trying to make light of the situation. And of course, I like drink beer on airplanes, so I was loose and having fun with it. But everybody was freaked out.
Yeah.
I think you gave us a courtesy beer on that flight, actually.
I probably did.
I believe you did.
I probably did.
I don't think you see, but you were like sleeping the whole way home. I was the one drinking.
Yeah, actually, I didn't drink.
Surprise.
I didn't drink
No,
on that
it's
flight.
perfect.
Yeah, I was actually catching up on some sleep.
No, it's funny. Like when I'm a
weekend.
passenger, like obviously not working or anything like that, I love drinking on flights.
Yeah.
I
It's
think
so much
it's so
fun.
fun.
I
I think it's
really
so much
enjoy it.
more fun than, and I'm so glad that like a regular passenger enjoys it as well, because I always thought maybe it's just because I serve drinks to people on planes that I find it so fun, but
It's
I
a lot
really
of
enjoy
fun.
it.
It makes the turbulence more fun too, because I'll be sitting there with my Miller Lite, because I'm pretty sure
Yeah.
that's all Southwest is offering right now on the light beer side.
Yeah, we used to serve Miller Lite, Coors
It
Light.
used to be Bud Light.
Really?
Yeah, I remember drinking a lot of blue cans on Southwest.
Man,
Probably about
actually,
3
you know what?
before the pandemic.
I do remember that because so we have cans of water, right?
Uh-huh.
And they now kind of changed the color of them, but they used to look like Bud Light cans, and so people would ride in all the time because we used to give our pilots a 6-pack of water,
And they'd be
but
like,
they
they're
would look
letting-
like Bud Light.
You're letting them drink beer in the
Yes,
cockpit.
we're like, what?
Popping the top up
God.
there. It's like Dirk
No.
Bentley's drunk on a plane.
Yeah, exactly. But he does say, "But the pilot."
Mm-hmm.
He does say that. In all fairness,
That's true. He does.
no. And anyways, yeah. So you're right. We did used to serve Bud Light. I kind of forgot what our full selection looked like. We haven't had a full selection in so long now that.
Yeah, because it went away during the pandemic, right?
Yeah,
you
we
guys
weren't
weren't serving
serving-
anything.
we weren't serving at
no
all. It was-
snacks, no nothing.
So
It was
you're not
wild.
allowed to like bring shooters and drink your own shooters on the plane, then, right? Like that's not allowed.
No,
It's strictly
Yeah.
prohibited, Art.
Is it?
you can bring them through like security
Yeah.
because you're under the whatever, but
Yeah.
we
You're not
kind of like
supposed
to we
drink
kind of
on a
like to
plane.
we kind of like
Yeah.
to say like if you go into a bar, you're not going to drink your own alcohol in a bar, right?
Yeah.
It has to be served to you.
Somebody's had to have pulled it
makes
off
sense.
before.
Uh,
If they order like
yes.
a soda or something, and then they just dump their shooter
No,
in.
100%. Like because we have to clean the planes, right?
Oh, yes, you've seen
And
it.
so like we'll get back there and I see like little Tito's things, and I'm like, seriously?
person,
I know
yeah.
because we don't serve Tito's,
Yeah.
so
So you know.
I mean, if you're gonna do it, at least just like
Clean up.
Put the shooters in your pocket and throw them out when
Clean
you go
up.
to the trash.
Or my
Yeah.
favorite is like they'll just like hand them to us, and I'm like, really? Like,
What's the craziest thing that because you've been doing it 10 years? I'm sure you've seen some wild flyers, I guess you'd call them.
it's-
Passengers.
Passengers, yes.
I thankfully, knock on wood, I have had very, for the most part, uneventful flying
For
experiences.
10 years.
That's pretty
it's
amazing.
uneventful. I mean, like I've had people get mad at me, for
That's probably-
silly stuff.
Yeah.
There was one time that we were doing our safety demo, and this person was sitting on the second row, had her tray table down. All of a sudden, I see her, like, lining up something, and then just like taking a snort
Oh my goodness.
off her tray table, and I'm sitting there looking, and so like I called the captain, like, hey, well, I actually went up to her first, I was like,
How do you get through security with cocaine?
and I was like, hey,
If that's what it
and I was
was.
like, hey, what was that? She goes, it was my medication.
You were snorting it?
So I called the pilot, and I'm like, hey, so this is what happened. They're like, well, if she says it's her medication, and I'm like, okay.
That's the first time I ever heard like a prescription snort.
well, I mean, look,
Yeah.
like you could break up like an Adderall or something.
No, you're right. I just
like,
it
you
just
could-
caught me very off guard.
Yeah.
And
I
you're
bet
sitting
it
there
did.
like,
Seeing someone snort something as you're like, okay, and then this is how the seatbelt goes together, and
yeah, that was pretty wild. Trying to think what all I've seen on an airplane. I really like uneventful days.
Yeah.
They're my favorite. If I can get through a trip and like nothing big happens, it's the best. Thankfully, I've not had a medical in years.
That's good.
I mean, now that I say that, watch me have it on my next trip.
you never know.
You
I
just
know.
jinxed yourself.
I know.
It could happen at any
exactly.
moment.
Exactly.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen some passengers get a little bit upset at times, but I haven't seen anything too wild. Most of it's like social media stuff where you see somebody recording this guy's freaking out. People are getting duct taped to the seats.
See, I have not had any of that, and I'm so grateful.
That's good.
I am so, so grateful. I do not want to end up on any sort of radio or, news station. I do not want to be that person.
Yes.
That is my goal to never be on any sort of news station for something that went wrong on my flight.
That's fair.
Yeah.
That's fair.
Just
Let's just get point A to point B.
Exactly.
No nonsense.
Exactly. Of course, I've had my fair share of really drunk passengers, but
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. I
You
bet
know.
that's not fun either, though.
no, it's not. Cutting people off isn't necessarily fun either, especially when they're really just wanting to drink.
Because they're hitting the
Yeah,
button.
when you're up there though, one time I drank so much.
Yeah.
When I was on the flight, that it was to Mexico too, and I was just like, wait, or was it with you? No,
it was when we went to
when
Phoenix.
we went to Phoenix. A
Not
different
this time.
a
This was
different
like
time.
12 years ago.
And like I was just slamming, jamming.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
I'll still hold it together, but like I was like, oh my gosh, like this high altitude
remember.
just hit me.
You're like, I got to use the restroom.
Yeah.
And as soon as we started descending, he started to come back to life.
Yeah, I did. It hit me hard. So the most intense turbulence that I've ever experienced on a plane was from Denver to Houston.
Okay.
And the turbulence was so intense that I could see when you're like looking, because I was like kind of behind the wings as far as my seating position.
Mm-hmm.
And I was looking down at like the baggage area, like where the overhead storage bins.
Yeah.
And I could see the plane like bowing, like you could see this thing flexing underneath the Turbulence.
Yeah.
And the person I was flying with at that time was really a nervous flyer.
Right.
And she hadn't noticed the bowing of the plane, and so I didn't.
That Boeing is going.
Yeah, I didn't point that out to her, but it's kind of cool, and we're not meant to be up there.
Right.
You know, it's like we're basically working physics, and so
sitting in a chair in the sky.
Yeah.
It's kind of nuts when you think about it.
It is, and then you're
The Wright
traveling
brothers.
super fast and stuff, and
I love it.
It's really cool.
I get excited for it.
You know, actually, I kind of forgot about this, just talking about just like the Boeing, but going from Houston to Oklahoma City, our plane was struck by lightning.
Oh,
Whoa.
jeez.
That's pretty wild.
In the air?
Yeah, in the air, coming down into Oklahoma City.
What-
So it hit the nose and then went out the wing.
What impact did it have on the flight, if any?
I mean, we were landing, so it really didn't have much. It's kind of crazy because it makes a big, loud boom noise, and then it looks like a big, like, light. I mean, it kind of, like, lights up the outside of the plane.
Like a purple light almost, because it's just right there.
Light. Yeah, it's just a bunch of light. And, I mean, obviously the plane was out of service because they had to inspect it and whatever else.
Yeah.
So they flew a plane up from Dallas, and then that was that. But that was pretty wild. And I'm sure I have a lot of stories, but I should, like, write down stories that I have. It's just when you're trying to go back in your memory of things that have happened, and
Becomes routine, right? I mean, it's your day to day. You're used
Yeah.
to, just, hey, we got to go here and there, and there's probably things that stand out. But just like anybody, whatever job it is, I'm sure there's things that pass your mind or whatever.
yeah, I mean, for the most part, I mean, it's just a job. It's a great job. I really enjoy it, but it's my job. Just
So did you always like have a love for aviation though? I mean,
No.
to get into that field.
No.
What led you into being a flight attendant then?
So my mom, like I said, my mom's a
Yeah,
flight attendant,
mama.
and when I was a senior in college, I really didn't know what I wanted to do with my life, and my dad's an attorney, and he always wanted me to go to law school and then come work for him. And by the time I really started thinking about what that really meant and what that meant for me, and I was like, gosh, I really just don't want to be stressed out all the time like he is, and I don't want to be glued to work all the time.
Yeah.
I want to be able to kind of sign out, if you will.
Work-life balance, yeah.
Yeah.
It's important.
And so it was a couple of days before Valentine's Day of 2011, my mom called me. She said, hey, I don't know if you're interested in doing this or not, but Southwest is hiring flight attendants. It'll be open for 3 hours on Valentine's Day, like the whole application, the process. And I'm like, okay, cool. Tried to apply. The whole system crashed. They hadn't hired flight attendants in about 5 years, and so many people tried to apply that it crashed the system. So I guess so many people wrote in that they opened it up for one more hour on February 16th, or so I guess 2 days later, for 1 hour. And that was it. And I got my application in 2 minutes prior to when it shut down because it just kept like kicking me out.
Oh, jeez.
And a week after I graduated, they called me for my phone interview, and then I started training that September. So it was just kind of perfect timing.
Yeah.
All worked out. I didn't know if I'd like it or not, and I ended up loving it.
Now, do you get much time? Like when you go land somewhere?
Yeah.
Is there like an opportunity to go explore, or is it quick turn and burn? Like you have to get back on the next flight going somewhere else. Like I've always wondered how that worked.
So it kind of depends. So this last trip I did, for example, was a 3-day trip. We had 19 hours in Portland, and we had 13 hours in Indianapolis. It was pouring down rain in Portland, but I was dead set on doing what I was going to do. So I took the train to downtown Portland. I got myself a coffee. I went to a spin class. Then I went and I asked the little spin instructor, I was like, hey, where's a good place to grab lunch? And he was like, oh, it's this really cool brewery over there. It's a brewery that's in an old church. And I'm like, well, that's cool. And so I walked over there and had lunch and a beer, and then got back on the train, headed back to the hotel, and watched the I think the Giants game was on. Watched the Giants game, and then went downstairs, grabbed some food, and went to bed, and woke up at 3:30.
Back to work.
Back to work. And then Indianapolis, it was also raining. We were kind of following the rain, and I had a track workout to do, and one of the girls I was flying with was from Indianapolis. She was like, hey, there's actually a really nice gym with an indoor track like a mile from our hotel. I said, great. So I went over there, did my track workout, came back, ate dinner, and literally went to bed because it was a 13-hour overnight. So again, had to wake up at 3:30. So
that's a quick wake-up call.
It is.
it's early. It's very early, especially on Indianapolis when it's 1:30 our time. And then I had to come back to Denver. So then yesterday, I was basically a zombie all afternoon because I've been up since 1:30.
Your clock is like all over the place.
Yes, it is.
Yes, it is. Not only because I work in like logistics,
right?
So I work in all time zones, but physically I'm always in Mountain Standard Time.
Right.
You're physically all over the place.
Yes, East Coast AMs are really, really hard, especially when you come back here and then try to be a responsible Adult.
East Coast AMs, yeah. I'm sure you've been into Manchester, New Hampshire.
I love Manchester.
So I'm not from Manchester. I'm from
Okay.
Wolfboro, which is north there, but that was my airport. It was like the first airport that I was ever around.
I love Manchester because there is a grocery store right across the street from our hotel.
Yeah.
That you go and get their lobster, and they'll
Lobster.
Yeah, your lobster
In the tank.
Yeah, and they'll
Yep.
they'll cook it right for you, and you take it back. Oh, and it's just so
Oh, that sounds delicious.
good. It is, and people. I mean, people go there just for that all the time.
Yeah. Yeah.
So good.
Manchester. Yeah, it's been a while since I've been back there. Was that MHT?
And they treat us really well at that hotel too. We get 50% off all of our food and drinks.
What
at that
hotel is it?
Oh gosh, now you're gonna make me think. I don't remember what it is. I would have to look at my but I just a lot of actually in the Northeast in general we have great deals with our hotels up there. So
That's
that
fun.
and Providence, I love that hotel as
Yeah.
well.
Providence, Rhode Island.
Yes. Yeah, actually I love it. I love Portland, Maine as well. That's a great overnight.
That's where my aunt lives.
Oh really?
Yeah.
I love Maine.
Maine's fun. New England's just a fun place.
It is.
I mean, I spent years and years, and matter of fact, yesterday the grocery store that I worked at when I started working at 14 years old in Wolfboro, New Hampshire, burned to the ground.
Oh no.
And so it's a very small community. I mean, I grew up in a town less than 5,000 people. Again, just an hour north of Manchester. So anyone listening back home in the New Hampshire area, I'm thinking of you guys. Because, I mean, that was a lot of work for that area.
Oh, yeah.
That's where I started working. That's where I learned how to work. And it's completely gone. It's
Gosh.
devastated the community. So just while we're on that topic, I wanted to touch on that.
I'm sorry to hear that.
Yeah, it's kind of a bummer. But
That really is.
New England is a fun place.
It
It's
is.
just it's old. It's historic. The food's fun.
Oh,
the
the
people
food's
have a
great.
lot of character. They're usually short-tempered, if you will. I used to blame my anger management issues on where I'm from. But it's just a good time.
It is. I actually have a Boston overnight next week, and my very best friend since I was in 5th grade she's getting a residency up in Boston, so I get to see her next week. So I'm really stoked about
That's
that.
super exciting.
Yeah, I haven't seen her in a while. I think, gosh, it's a really long time. So I was supposed to be a bride's.
Over 5 years?
No. She came out to Colorado when I was 16 weeks pregnant, so it was April of 21, I think. And I was supposed to be a bridesmaid in her wedding, but at the time, my son went through a whole lot when he was born, and he was in the NICU. Then he got out of the NICU. Then he actually went back into the NICU. And so when he went back into the NICU, it was a really rough time on us. And I was supposed to be in her wedding the following week. And just in the state that he was in, I just didn't feel comfortable leaving, which obviously she understood. But so I was supposed to see her then. So I'm really looking forward to.
You're overdue for a visit.
Yes, very much so.
Whereabouts in Boston or just
Yeah.
the surrounding areas?
Yeah, and I have we stay at the Boston waterfront,
Okay.
something hotel.
Yeah.
I think it's a Westin, I think.
What a fun city. It's been years since I've been back, but I'm due for a visit. Go
Yeah,
back home,
it's
get
great.
some chowder.
I got
Yes.
to get out there. I've never even been to
Oh
the
my gosh,
it's so-
it's
dude, New
amazing.
England.
closest to the
gotta go
northeast
check
I've
it
been
out.
is New Jersey.
Oh
I mean,
gosh.
You know?
Jersey's got character, but
I mean, it was cool.
Yeah.
It's the Garden State. I mean, it's pretty out
or as
there.
some of the haters would say, it's the garbage state.
Yeah, So I'm going to bring it back a little bit. You're going to other cities. You're focusing on workouts. You're doing spin classes and stuff.
Yeah.
Still, so I admire that. I think that's awesome that you have that kind of drive and passion to stick with it. It's still January. A lot
Yeah.
of people make New Year's resolutions. Did you make a New Year's resolution, or you've just been on it for a while now?
No. So I do triathlons.
Wow.
I've been doing that for the last, I guess, 6, almost 7 years, I guess. Currently training for a full marathon at the end of February. So hence the track workout and stuff like that. No, ever since I started with Southwest, I was kind of joking with somebody the other day. I'm like, wow, when I started, it's like college 2.0. I was just drinking all the time.
Okay.
I mean, you'd get off work and it was a big old party, especially when I first started, because I'd work these PM trips, but right now PM trips get in at 2 o'clock in the morning, 3 o'clock in the morning, so don't really do anything, but they used to get in at 9 p.m., 10 p.m., so the bar would still be open. So we'd just go down and just
Get hammered.
party it up, and have fun.
Yep.
And so I was like, golly, I really need to start exercising. I really need to move my body if I'm going to continue this lifestyle. So I started running. And then right after we got married, I looked at my husband and I'm like, I used to do kid triathlons when I was really young. I said, I think I really want to get into triathlons again. And he was like, okay, well, I guess let's try to find you a bike,
Yeah.
So he found
So
this.
it's running, biking, swimming. Okay.
Yeah, I grew up swimming, so that's kind of my jam.
Nice.
I love swimming. And so we found this bike in Boulder. It was on Craigslist, and he's like, it was a really nice bike, but it was used and not, not the nicest bike in the entire world. He's like, I don't want, obviously we didn't want to invest if I, ended up not liking it very much.
Mm-hmm.
So got that bike, did a sprint triathlon the next month, loved it, immediately signed up for my first 70.3, which is a half Ironman distance for that next summer.
Okay.
Trained super hard for it, and I set a goal for myself, beat that goal by 40 minutes. Just like blew it out of the water. Yeah, I was so stoked. I was so excited about it. So then I immediately signed up for my next one. That one did not go as well.
Okay, were you below your goal?
Way below my goal. It was.
Now, what was the contributing factor to the?
Well, I think
difference?
a couple things. Once I did that first race, I was like, okay, I've got this. I don't think I actually pushed myself as hard. I don't think I trained as hard. So between that and then also I was down in Austin, and in my head I was like, okay, I've been training up here. It's going to be a breeze. It's going to be easy. Yeah. Well, it was in the hill country down there, which it is hilly, and then plus most of the roads are that chip sealed roads. So on a TT triathlon bike, trying to ride on a chip sealed road, you're just like the whole time. And so after the bike, I started running, and I think I had a panic attack. I'm not really quite sure what it was, but my heart rate was just skyrocketing, and I couldn't control it. And so on those races, you can kind of see, like, there's a tracker. And so my husband could see where I was at, and he could see that I was slowing down. He found me. He's like, are you okay? I'm like, no, I'm not. So he called my coach, and he was like, what do we do? Like, she's like, she can't breathe very well, yada, yada.
Yeah.
She was like, this is going to sound really weird, but the next aid station, tell her to drink Coca-Cola, because the caffeine will actually open up.
Oh, the caffeine.
Yeah, well, I open up everything, and she'll be able to breathe at least a little bit. Not it won't be like a permanent fix, but at least for a little bit. So sure enough, for 10 minutes at a time, it would help me out.
And it worked?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Wow. I mean, I've heard caffeine kind of opens up everything.
Yeah.
Lets the blood flow a little bit better, but
I
wouldn't think Coca-Cola would be the way to go.
Well, that's what they have at the aid stations.
Because that's like one of the
sponsors weirdly enough,
or partners.
That's just, they have water. They usually have water, Gatorade, Coke. And on full Ironman distances, at like one part, they have like chicken broth.
Chicken broth.
So, because all the salt.
Yeah.
Oh,
and
yeah.
it tastes
just like Gatorade, right?
Exactly. It just
replenishing
tastes
that sodium.
so good when you're at mile, because I've done one full Ironman. And so when you're at mile 18 of the run portion, you're so done. And to have that just like little
chicken
shot
broth.
it's so good.
Well, there's got to be a little protein in that too, I would think.
Something.
Is there protein in
I don't know.
broth?
I mean, if it's a bone broth, there has to be.
Yeah. But
I didn't know that, though. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Is it hot? Is it served hot, or is it just like room temp?
It was supposed to be, but it was a little
temp?
cold by the time I got it.
Yeah.
But it still tasted really good.
Yeah.
But yeah. So to answer your question, not really a New Year's resolution. It's more of just I really enjoy it. I've pretty high anxiety, and so that kind of like mellows me out, helps me sleep better. I always feel better afterwards, and I also am a very competitive person, so I like having those kind of goals to keep that kind of in check.
No, I love it, and kudos to anybody that's out there chasing your New Year's resolution. Keep it up. But I think it's just and I've made these comparisons a lot. It's like Valentine's Day. If you want to be sweet to your significant other, you could do that any day of the year. If you want to make a new habit in your life that becomes a lifestyle, you could do that any day of the year. And I'm really into swimming too.
That's awesome.
So the place where I live right now has a year-round pool, and it's outdoors though.
Okay.
So once the cold started, I was kind of being a wuss, and I wasn't going to swim, even though I knew I needed to, right?
Yeah.
And then so some of these days though, when it's cold out, I'll still I'll muster up the courage to go out there.
Yeah.
And I'll just do some laps and stuff, and calisthenics in the pool. And I feel like that makes me feel better than weightlifting always.
Yeah. Well, yeah, it's so good for your body. I mean, swimming is by far one of the best things you can do for your body. I mean, it's so good for you because you're not putting any. I mean, in every sort of way, it's good for you.
Mm-hmm. And you're you get to fly almost.
Yeah, it's
you get to feel like you get fly.
I love swimming.
Yeah.
Like I said, I grew up swimming. I went to a summer camp growing up, and at the end of every term, we were actually, I don't know if it was a requirement or not, but we did a mile swim, and it was a big deal. And so we did a mile swim.
What was the record for the mile swim? I
think for the girls, I'm trying to think back at our, because there was a plaque with each cabin's record holder because it ranges
Yeah.
from, the youngest cabin, they're 7 or 8 years old, and the oldest cabin 16 years old. So I mean, obviously that's a pretty big gap. So they do each cabin what their record was, and I think it was like, I don't know, 16, 17 minutes. I mean, up there.
Okay.
Swim a mile.
Yeah.
Wow.
So it's like if you're casually, actually, if you're trying to walk fast like a mile, like you could do like 16, 15 minutes a mile.
Yeah.
So you're like
power
swimming
walking?
you're like swimming at the same pace.
My
almost.
mom can actually power walk. She is like a pro power walker. I
Really?
actually have to jog to keep up with her. It's really impressive.
What
do
is
like
her time?
She can do like 14-minute miles walking.
wow.
Power
Yeah,
walking.
she is power walking.
I mean, getting the
Way to
shoulders
go.
going
yeah.
into it.
Yeah,
I mean, you really got to hoof it.
I literally have to jog when she's going full
Full walk.
I mean, is she a tall woman? Does she have long legs?
No, she's 5'5". She used to run every morning growing up, and then her knees just, kind of, they're not bad, but just not great enough to run.
Running's hard on your joints. Like that's also
Yeah.
why I like swimming.
Knees and hips,
So
yeah.
I like doing swimming, walking. Those are my two things because it's like really easy on my body. Like I'm never like aching in pain the next day. But I'm
Totally.
still seeing the results over
Well, yeah.
time.
There's a reason
Yeah.
they do pool therapy, right? I mean, I think my mom, hopefully, is getting ready to do that. My mom had major back surgery, actually, the week after we got back from Phoenix.
She's gonna get in there. I know you're gonna get in there.
She's getting in there.
She's gonna watch this, so I know.
Yeah,
that
she'll be watching.
You're gonna get in the pool and you're gonna love it.
She needs to. She needs to because so basically, my mother had the most incredible surgery you could imagine. I mean, from her tailbone to the top of her neck was completely fused. Not once, not twice, not 3 times, 4 times.
Oh my
Yeah,
On a
gosh.
geez.
total fusion.
Wow.
And so she's been through a lot.
Yeah, no kidding. And
and-
how's she doing now?
She's doing great. My mom's tough as nails. You know,
Good.
one of the toughest people I've ever met in my entire life. So, it's just getting that physical thing back on track. You know,
That's important.
The bottom part of her's good. It's that upper part. And so I think getting in the pool, hopefully she can start to do and exercise those muscles that they had to lacerate and then reattach. So
Does she have anything else coming up, or is this like done? Is she it? Is this it for her?
I think this is it. I'm pretty sure Mom is going to say, I'm done. I'm not doing this shit anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I went through it this many times. Let's get in the pool. Let's do what we got to do and rehabilitate. But yeah, to echo off the pool point, I mean, it's amazing because it takes so much pressure off the body.
Right,
That you can
right.
you can rehabilitate from it.
My mom's she just told me on the way over here that she's kind of going back and forth with whether or not to have this like back surgery, and she said she thinks she's going to do it.
What kind of surgery is it going to be?
So she has like neuropathy in her legs, and so she's
That's like a
trying
nerve
to,
deal, right?
Yeah, I think it's something to get it off, something off the nerve, and that way hopefully she can start, because like she'll like walk or play. She plays pickleball a lot too.
Pickleball. Huh?
Yeah, pickleball, and she like can't feel like parts of her feet and stuff, and it just drives her crazy.
She's probably got something pinched, like in the,
Yeah.
in the lower back.
So
that's
I
usually
don't
what it is.
remember exactly. And she's been trying to do everything except for
The surgery.
She did not want to do surgery.
I mean, I like that approach better, honestly, because a lot of folks that I talk to, including your brother, my mother, I mean, they go through these surgeries and then it just snowballs into more surgeries and other issues that develop.
That's what she's kind of worried about. I mean, she's tried PT. She's been trying just like steroid shots. She's been trying all sorts of stuff to try to.
How about and I know this is like a holistic approach, but like the power of thought, I feel like is really impactful on the physical. And sure, the power of thought has its limits, but has she like intensively visualized her body being healthy and like
Probably not, honestly.
because if you can
Maybe.
do things like that, like where you say I have a healthy, strong body,
Yeah.
I visualize what my body looks like healthy and strong, and then I also associate the emotion,
Right.
that is already accomplished, right? So like my body is healthy and strong, like how do I feel
Right.
with that? And you do that for like years, like I feel like it does make an impact. I know it's super holistic, and I don't know how much science is behind all that, but if you could do medicine, like acupuncture, all the natural stuff, and then also fire off your
Yeah, she
mind
could
and
do
really
acupuncture
and
as
really
well.
get your mind going, like I feel
Yeah.
like that could help.
No, I agree with you, Art. I mean, we talk to a lot of folks that don't really subscribe to positive affirmations in the sense where it's successful on the
We're
long
all just
term.
talking about that last week.
We
I
were.
think. Yeah.
Yeah, we were.
Yeah, I remember that.
And the question I always ask people that are skeptical, I said, well, what you tell your body, does it believe it, right?
Right.
Because generally speaking, I mean, if you sit there and just say, oh, I'm obese, I'm this, I'm that, well, I mean, eventually that's going to have a negative impact, right? So I think to piggyback off your point, look, at the end of the day, there is medical situations that need to be addressed.
Yes.
But, what do they say? 70% of survival is mental toughness.
Oh, for sure.
So if you can get your mind dialed in, one of my affirmations I start the day with every single day is I'm strong, I'm healthy, I got this.
Yeah.
Right?
Have y'all like listened to that? I think it's like Snoop Dogg's like thing. It's like there's nobody better to be than myself or whatever it is. There's nobody. I don't know.
No, it's that speech. He's like, I would like to thank me for showing up every day. I would like to thank. Is that what you're talking about?
No. He's literally, it's a song. It's like, there's nobody better to be than myself. And like, he like repeats it. Like, it's supposed to be like a kid's positive affirmation thing. And then like, but people have been making all sorts like reels and whatever else off of it. But I think it's great.
I love Snoop. Snoop's the real deal.
Yeah, he
puts it out there, He likes to partake in a large amount of cannabis, but he's still out there getting it. So, we all love Snoop.
I believe in the power of the mind. And so I was fortunate enough. My mom taught me about affirmations, and she recommended a book that I read. It was Mind Power into the 21st Century.
Okay.
I was, a new teen, like 13 or something, so I just came out of adolescence.
Right.
And I was reading this book, and so I started to apply some of these things at a very young age, right? And sure, I was novice. I was practicing, and to be conscious of your thought process is a heavy task. You like to think about your thoughts all the time. But what was interesting...
It'd be so scary for me to think about my thoughts all the time.
Yeah,
but anyway.
But you should. We should be aware, or else your subconscious is just going to do whatever it wants. And so you have to like kind of start guiding your subconscious, and that way the two minds communicate together. But the thing that I experienced with all this is it took it took over 3 years. It took maybe 5 years of trying to use these affirmations consistently and really trying to believe in it and see it and feel it. But once it all started to click, it was like everything was just synchronized.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, all these really great things started to happen to me with zero effort on my part. Well, I guess I put in the effort prior of doing the affirmations and starting to have this self-belief. But once I actually tapped into it, all these good things just started happening. And I think I actually fell off for a little bit. Like I was like, oh crap, I made it. But I didn't stick in it. And then like I kind of had a rough patch in life and kept moving through. And now I'm on the bounce back. And so like I have seen the power there, but it's like one of those things where it takes time and you have to be patient. And with modern society and technology and how everything is so readily available.
Oh, I know.
People don't want to wait for, they want immediate satisfaction.
Right. No, I totally get it. I mean, especially like going back to working out and whatever else, I've always enjoyed it. I've always done it. And then obviously got, we had our son and whatever else and going through the whole postpartum thing and looking at myself and being like, oh my gosh, like this is not how I'm used to my body looking, and like trying to still be positive, like, okay, well, it's okay. You made this amazing tiny human and, you'll get there again. Like, you're producing his food, you're doing this for him. Like you're doing so much.
Your body's under work right now.
You cannot be so hard on yourself. But it was hard kind of looking at myself in the mirror and not fitting into any of my clothes, even like, a few months after having him. And like, but positive affirmations for sure. Like when I was looking at myself, like, okay, Kelcy, you can do this today. You've got this today. Like you look good today. Like it's okay. Like you'll get there. Like it's, just that kind of stuff. It's just having grace with yourself.
Yeah.
And I feel like we can just be so hard on ourselves sometimes, and having the grace and having, just being like, well, if you have a goal, if you have whatever, like set those goals and hopefully, do them, but have grace in the process.
I think that's important. Yeah,
it's well said too. I mean, because, generally speaking, the mind tends to go to like negative places, right?
Absolutely.
That's just where the natural, mental polarity goes, is I'm going to focus on the negatives. I'm pissed off I'm in traffic. I'm pissed off that my jeans don't fit anymore because I gained some weight. Whatever the case may be, that's where the mind goes. So it's tough. I mean, I think we're all guilty of it at times.
Oh, 100%.
Because it's, it's cliche. Oh, just do this every day and you're going to find success kind of thing. No. This is a long haul, right? It's a long haul. It's a long, cold, hard road. And it takes constant effort every day.
It does.
Self-evaluation. You're married, so I'm sure that there's, evaluations that take place with that. And, relationships were something I was never really good at. I failed at my previous one just because of communications.
I was literally about to say, I feel like communication is kind of key to any kind of successful relationship, partnership, friendship. I mean,
all of it.
Just relationships in general.
Yeah.
Whether that's with a spouse, partner, whoever. I mean,
gotta
communication's
key.
Gotta
communicate.
Especially I'm traveling a lot and he travels for work too. So, we really have to have that communication and for us to to work.
What formula
you know?
do you find has like worked best for you guys to where it's like, okay, we're good, we're doing good here. We maybe haven't seen each other a lot this week or this month, but you're still maintaining communication. What I always like to ask people, just because everyone kind of has a different approach to, do they FaceTime, do you text, do you call, do you have a weekly sit down, what's working, what isn't?
When I'm traveling, we text throughout the entire day. I mean, I text him before we take off to say, hey, so going back to like Turbulence, I mean, obviously I'm always expecting nothing to go wrong, but I'm like, hey, we're taking off, love you,
Yep.
I hate to like be like morbid, but like, just in case, like, I don't know.
Yeah.
And then like, throughout the flight, we'll just kind of text and chit chat. And then end of my day, usually I'll call him like, hey, I made it to the hotel. Like, this is my plan for, what I'm doing. Maybe I'll go downstairs with my crew and have dinner and drinks, or, go downtown. This is what I'm doing. And then usually I'll, FaceTime with him and my son before at least my son goes to bed, I sing my son songs every night.
Oh,
so
that's nice.
I sing him his little songs. And then when we're home.
So do you feel like you've become better at singing since you've been singing?
Oh God, no.
Kid
Oh my
songs?
gosh, no. No. I'm a
Okay.
terrible singer, but I sing the same two songs, and
What do you sing?
So I sing two songs. One of the songs is actually a song that we used to sing at the summer camp I went to right before like the campfire was done, and everybody kind of left. It was a camp song that I was just used to, and then I also sing "The River" by Garth Brooks.
Oh, yeah, great song.
So I sing those two songs to him.
And he likes them. He's like,
Yeah.
oh yeah, I feel comfortable now.
Yeah, he snuggles with me. I usually hold him, and he snuggles with me, and he kind of goes like, like he kind of like hums with me. It's really cute.
That's fun.
Yeah,
That's
it's
nice.
really,
That's
really
a nice
cute.
little, is it a nightly tradition or weekly?
Nightly.
Wow.
That's
Yeah.
nice.
Good for you.
Yes, sorry, I didn't mean to like do that. But
No.
sometimes like I have these questions when people are talking, and I'm like, I'm curious if
No.
singing nightly has helped.
Yeah, no,
You
it's
know?
not. I mean,
But it's good you're
Yeah.
hopping on the video calls and still doing the singing.
oh yeah,
Regardless, like
I
you're,
am.
you're
I
holding
was
strong.
having dinner with my crew on when I was in Portland, and my husband FaceTimed me, and so I was like, hey guys, and so I like went outside. So I'm like, I'm not going to sing to him inside this bar. I'm going to go outside.
Yeah.
And people were coming in, and actually it's a really cool like restaurant in the hotel there. The hotel itself is not that nice, but the restaurant is fire. Oh my
Okay.
gosh, it is so good. They make amazing. They have this like salmon salad, which is just awesome.
Ooh, yeah.
And then I love bourbon, and like anything that's under, I think it's like $15 on their menu. Like they'll do, I think it's like half off or something like that for Southwest. And so like I get an old fashioned, and
Nice.
so good. Anyways, but as far as communication,
yeah.
it's communication.
Communication.
I know communication.
Let's not get off track with our communication.
Well, it is,
right?
it is a
I'm
discussion
sorry.
combustion. You
Yeah.
never know where this thing's going to go.
Yeah, no, like, I mean, like after so kiddo goes to bed usually around 7 o'clock. And so like, which is kind of nice for us because we still have the whole evening for us. So,
Yeah.
that's our time to talk, our time to catch up on our day, our time to watch a movie or whatever. I just that open communication and what's on our minds and whatever else. I mean,
It's crucial.
it's just, it's crucial. I mean, a few years ago, we hit a point where I think we were just so busy all the time that we weren't communicating enough. Like we just had plan after plan after plan, and we never really caught up with each other. And I remember like sitting on the couch, and like we were both on our phones and like not talking to each other. And so I think at that point I realized, okay, I think we need to go to couples therapy just to like figure out our communication again and just kind of like figure this out, because not that we were in like a bad place by any means, but it was just hey, we need to check ourselves a little bit, because if we're not talking to each other at all while we sit here, like that's just, I mean, don't get me wrong.
Are you on your phone the whole time? Or?
Yeah, just like playing games or on our phone. Like, I don't know, like there's nothing wrong with that after a long day, but
Yeah, like
if
30 minutes, 45 minutes,
But-
that's fine. But like every single night.
Exactly. But it
Yeah.
got to a point where I'm like sitting there thinking, like, I feel like we're looking at our phones more than we're like talking to each other.
Yeah.
And I did not like that.
Yeah, no. I mean, who would? That's unfortunately. I mean, that's kind of the result of where we're at with technology too.
Right.
iPads, phones, Skype calls, whatever the case may be. It definitely kind of drove a wedge into just even like family relationships. You look
Yeah.
at everyone sitting around on Thanksgiving or Christmas, everyone's looking at their phone.
Oh, for sure.
And I talk about that a lot in this program. When I go out to eat or something like that, put the phones away. This
I
is a
totally
time
agree.
for us to socialize and visit. That's why I love doing what we do here. I mean, none of us have looked at our phones this entire time.
Yeah.
Just 100% dedicated time to talk to one another. I think it's important for everyone to do that.
And I think even kids right now, like they just all of a sudden they're 3-4 years old and here's an iPad,
Yep.
and so they just get used to just being on a device.
That's what's scary is that these young kids, that's all they know.
Yeah.
It's just a device in their face.
Mm-hmm.
Here you go. Here's a movie. Here's we're at the grocery store. Here's another movie to watch. So I mean, I understand the pros and cons to it. I do, but
Right.
I worry about the long-term mental health effects that we're going to see from it.
So I totally agree with that. But there is one area I'm going to give parents grace. All the parents of the world, I'm going to give you some grace on this. And that is only because I've seen it firsthand through baby Lux. Like, I'm like basically this girl's uncle, right? Cause
baby
that's
Lux.
awesome.
yeah, I love her. But she gets wild sometimes at dinner.
Mm-hmm.
And I know her parents are extremely attentive throughout the day.
Yeah.
And they're always there. Like, they're good parents. But sometimes, like, we just need to put up that screen for a little bit of time to just enjoy a little bit of dinner. So, like, I'm going to give all the
on
parents
an airplane, for
Yeah.
example, like, because, like, okay, so kiddo is just, like, going bananas, and
Mm-hmm.
there's 140 other people or 170 other people on this plane, and you're like, oh my gosh, just stop screaming,
Please.
like, please stop
And it does
screaming.
work. It does work for sure.
Just for at least for like a little instant.
Just take that attention away. Yeah, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
And just like anything in moderation, right?
Right, no, for sure.
There's a time and a place for it.
Oh, going down to Dallas back in December. So my son's been on a lot of flights. I mean, a lot.
Mm-hmm.
We've traveled with him a lot. Like our goal was, okay, if we have kids, we want to make sure that they are good travelers because we love to travel. We've traveled to a lot of different places. And we just want to start it early.
Mm-hmm.
And so he honestly has been so good on all of his flights. And then he had this just meltdown down from Denver to Dallas. And I'm like sweating. I'm like, oh my God, what can I do? And I'm like trying my best. And still, even so, like, and I'm sure if anyone looked at me, they could see that I was doing my best.
You were trying, yeah.
But even still, like, we land, and this one guy just stands straight up and starts glaring at me, and I'm like, I'm sorry.
Like, I can't this
I'm
little
trying
creature.
so hard. He's just not. He's tired. He doesn't feel that great. We woke him up at 4:00 in the morning.
Yep.
He's hungry, I'm sure. Like, I mean, we tried to give him breakfast, but he wasn't into it. So, that's just what we got this morning.
That's a tough one. It's a wild card. I mean, you've been on enough flights. I've been on enough flights. We've
Yeah.
all heard the baby screaming.
I know.
It's pretty much
I
going to
mean,
happen.
Look, they sell
hard.
noise-canceling earphones for a reason.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like, if
Come
that's,
prepared.
if that's going to be something that really bothers you, a child, crying, like, look, it just happens sometimes. Like,
Yeah.
Yep.
you shouldn't let that stuff ruin your day, right?
No, I totally agree. But, especially, if people don't like kids or don't have kids and don't know, like, you can't just, especially in the toddler stage, there's not a whole lot. If the kid's like on a screaming tantrum thing, like, he doesn't talk yet, so he can't tell me what he's feeling or what he wants. And you're just sitting there looking at this little kid being like, what do you want? Okay, I tried to give you milk. I tried to give you food. I tried to, read to you. I tried to put your passy in. I tried everything. What do you want? And then they still scream.
Yeah. And, unfortunately, it happens to be in a public setting, whether it's a
Exactly.
movie theater, a restaurant, an airplane. I mean, that's life. It's part of life.
So
we all got to
I
coexist.
respect the parents because I've had this happen in movies before, and I respect the parents when the kid is starting to like get fussy, and they just get up, carry the kid, and they walk out. I'm like, look, I respect you.
At
for
the
that.
movies, yeah, it's
No,
all
for
Yeah.
sure. Unfortunately, on the plane, you can't just peace
No.
out.
No, you can't do that.
going out the emergency exit.
Yeah.
The plane is a little more like, what do you take them to the bathroom? I don't know.
Yeah, like a lot of times, like, we'll see parents like in the galley and whatever else, just like trying to calm down their kid. Like actually when we were on the cruise, he started getting fussy at dinner one night. And so my mom, this is one thing about having help, which was great. She
Yeah.
took him like outside and like just played with him for a bit. I'm like, this is so nice. Because usually it's us, taking him out. And so it was nice having the help to take him out to play while we got to enjoy our dinner.
Yeah, on the cruise. Mm-hmm. Where'd you cruise to?
So we cruised down to Cozumel. It's my grandma's 80th birthday.
Okay.
She loves cruising.
I've cruised Cozumel.
I've never done a cruise. I got to get
It's
on
so
one
much
of
fun.
those.
They're a lot of fun.
Yeah.
They're a lot of fun. Her and my granddad are big cruisers.
Okay.
Their cruise before this, they actually went on 3 back-to-back 2-week cruises for a total of 45 days.
Wow, back to back, huh?
Uh-huh. Yep, they cruised around Europe, and then their last cruise was a transatlantic cruise. They landed back in Miami. They've been all over the world.
That's incredible.
Yeah, they're really cool
That's
people.
That's a long time to be on the water, though. I mean, I did a 7-day
No, it
cruise,
is.
and I was like, I'm ready to get back to
so-
land.
So
that's like-
she gambles and she plays bridge, and so like she'll
Okay.
like find people to do all this stuff
Yeah.
with, and so she like has her people. They have their people they usually travel with, and They have a great time.
So, like, if you work remotely, can you, like, just bring your laptop
Yeah,
and, like,
that's Wi-Fi equipped.
basically just live
It is.
on a boat and just work?
Oh, 100%, for
I
sure.
feel like I need to do that.
And actually, it'd probably be
cruises, I would
cheaper than like living, like, it's like you have your food.
Yeah.
You can go visit places.
Yep.
You know, Wi-Fi is not cheap, though.
Okay.
I remember that.
Yeah, and actually, it was really lovely. I took a 5-day break from my phone. It was awesome.
So did I. Yeah,
It was
just because it didn't
perfect.
work.
I
I
mean-
had no choice.
I was not paying for the Wi-Fi.
Yeah, I wasn't either.
How much is the Wi-Fi?
It's like
Like $20
$8
a day.
Was it 20?
Yes.
Jeez. So that's going to
If you had like multiple lines, it was like 18 per line or per device, I guess.
Yeah.
Per line, per device.
But yeah, I mean, you know, the whole point of it is you're going on vacation, right?
Right.
You're on the water, go enjoy the events, the activities. I had a lot of fun. I went, like I said, probably similar to the path that you took. We went to Cozumel, and then it went to Progreso, Mexico, and then back to New Orleans is where the
Okay.
cruise
Ours went out of
originated.
Galveston. And
Okay.
it was just a day at sea, then Cozumel, then a day at sea, then back.
So it was like a 3-day.
It was a
5-day.
5-day, 4-night. And it was great. It was a little bit tough because my son is on a great schedule, which is great at times, but not so great at other times. So he usually takes, 2 to 3 hour nap during the day. And so trying to get him, like, we had to go back to our room, which these rooms, as you know, on cruise ships are tiny.
They're tiny. It's like a micro hotel room.
Yeah. And so one of us had to go back with him because we weren't just going to leave him there by himself. And so we didn't have Wi-Fi or anything to even do anything on our phones. And so you're just kind of like in there, and you've only like 5 channels on the TV. So you're like, I mean, thankfully I had a book. So,
Yeah.
but and then also he goes to bed at 7. Well, my grandmother had booked all of our dinners for 7:30.
Uh-oh.
And so
That
we
was a
like,
tight schedule.
so we were like go to dinner with him, and like actually he did really, really well. I'm really proud of the kiddo, but he wouldn't go to bed till like 9:30 or 10. The problem with that is you would think if they go to bed later, they would sleep in later. That's not the way how kids work. They go to bed later, they wake up earlier. So he usually sleeps from 7 to 8. That is his normal schedule. He would sleep from like 9:30 to 6.
Oh, geez.
7 to 8, huh?
Yeah.
That's a lot of sleep.
Yeah, he's a great sleeper.
Wow, I wish I could sleep 13 hours.
It's awesome.
back starts to hurt.
We honestly kind of lucked out with that because
Yeah.
there's not a whole lot of people I feel like that I talk to that their kiddos sleep that long. So,
Straight through. Doesn't wake up.
Like, I mean, we'll hear him like, around like, 3 o'clock in the morning, we'll hear like a little like, whatever, and like usually just goes right back to sleep.
Okay.
Like he'll grab a passy, put it back in his mouth, and then like he's a little teddy bear that he loves and kind of cuddles with that and goes right back to sleep. It's pretty cute.
I do. I don't have a passy, but I definitely grab my
You
pillow.
don't?
No passy. I mean, unless it's
What is wrong with you?
I
Passy,
got to
Kevin?
tighten up.
Like, you need to get...
I got to tighten up.
I still have my my polar bear. Its name is Chubby.
Oh.
And it's a polar bear that I've had since I
Chubby?
was a kid.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I actually have,
And I've kept that stuffed animal.
yeah, I have one stuffed animal as well. Do y'all remember Lamb Chop and Friends?
It
The TV show?
It sounds very familiar.
It does sound familiar.
Well, I was like, it was like early 90s, and so anyways, when my little brother was born, apparently I got to pick him out a stuffed animal. Well, I picked out this lamb that I kept for myself and named it Lamb Chop, which is a little, but it was from Lamb Chop and Friends.
And you still have lamb chop?
Yes, I still have Lamb Chop.
Excellent.
I know.
I don't have any of my childhood stuffed animals. I had Simba, which
Yeah.
was
Okay.
probably one of my favorites.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't have any. I didn't hold on to those.
So I usually will post up Chubby in like an area, usually in a closet, but so he's standing because he's like a 4-legged stander.
Yeah.
And I'll like stand him up so then he can at least have a view of what's happening in the closet. He's not just thrown away somewhere.
That's great.
You know. And actually, one of my dogs growing up loved Chubby. Like
no.
that dog and Chubby were best friends, and he treated
good.
the stuffed
Okay.
animal so good.
That's great.
Yeah, but we had to wash it occasionally.
Mm-hmm.
Get the
So-
slobber on it.
Yeah, I mean, look.
And they kind of turn gross whenever the dogs get
Yeah.
a hold of them because we have 2 dogs and they get a hold of my son's stuffies and then all of a sudden like their coat is just
Yeah, there's a
Gross.
brown spot that
crusty.
will never
Yeah.
disappear, but it reminds me of that good old dog. So
There you go.
it works out. So you know that we like to ask a question to all of our guests near the end of the episode,
yes.
and so we have to ask you.
I mean, she's been listening a while.
I have.
She knows the question. So
do know the question.
If you could offer one piece of advice that could help humanity tomorrow, what would that be?
I've actually been thinking a lot about this question.
Okay.
And it kind of goes back to what we were talking about earlier with communication and stuff. Just being present, being present where you are, talking to people, putting our phones down, like just listening to people. If everybody could just do that, I feel like we'd be in a lot better place. And just instead of what were you saying? Like, I don't know. Like, I just feel like if
I
we're
agree.
just being present, I feel like it would be I don't know.
I think it's great advice, and it definitely, now more than ever, I think the people need to hear it. Because like you said, everyone is so conditioned when things get awkward, if the conversation's boring, they immediately reach for their phone. Rather than just saying, hey, what are you thinking? What's going on right now? What do you want to do?
Right.
I mean, it's just changed a little bit. So, no, that's solid advice for sure.
Well, and it's difficult to adhere to as well. Like, to be
it is.
completely present and really envelop your mind within what is around you that's actual, not fake. It's a challenge, and I've been trying for a long time with like social media, and I'm
guilty of it too. I mean, I'm not saying
all,
like I'm like
all
you
of
know.
us are. All of us are guilty.
100%.
But that's why it's good to bring this stuff up. So it's like a reminder that like, hey, your muscle memory is gonna pull up your phone and like open up that app, and then what are you actually benefiting from? Like, what are you actually obtaining from that? And like, I like to have my quick 20-minute bursts. Like, I'll go watch stories, I'll go love stuff really quick, and then I try to put it down. And then when I go to pick it back up and open up the same app, I'm like, I literally just closed this app.
I know.
Like, I'm putting it back down. But you have to battle yourself with that. But what you end up finding through this challenge of breaking your muscle memory and these habits of looking at social media is then you start seeing value right in front of you. Like, and it's going to be different for everybody, right? Like, everyone's going to have their own experience with it. But for me personally, it helps me to see, like, the things that are around me that I'm thankful for. Because that's generally what I'll try to do is be like, all right, like, if I'm not going to look at this, like, what am I going to do with my mind that's proactive? You know, maybe you stretch really quick. Maybe you, pick up a book or something, or you like just listen to some music. Like I end up spending a lot of time just listening to music and having fun listening to music, opposed to looking at my phone. And that's being present. And like in a relationship or with kids, like, you know, friends, like it's an important thing.
No, I agree. And like, there's so many times I find myself intentionally putting my phone down because like, so my son, he plays with the same little things and I'll be like, okay, whatever. I'll like pick up my phone. I'm like, Kelcy, why are you missing this? Like, like there's so many things that he's doing right now and learning. I'm like, I don't want to miss this. These are things I don't want to miss.
Yep.
And, I was watching something on my phone the other day and, no, it was this guy who was saying, he's like, hey, like if you're watching, you know, a movie with your significant other, we have a rule in our house that it's a one screen only thing.
I like it.
So like if you're watching a movie, you put your phone down. Cause like I feel like sometimes like I've been watching an episode, like a new episode of something that we're watching. Yeah. And I'll be on my phone. Well, I missed like half the episode. I was in the background, but I don't even know what happened. You know, so if you're like watching something with somebody, even if it's watching a movie, just to be present in that moment, you know, and
goes a long way.
It does.
No, it does. I mean, I've done the same thing. I'll be like maybe not into whatever's going on and I get on my phone, but I'll tell you this. I got a new challenge for the people. I did this 2 weeks ago, and it wasn't an easy challenge. I did the 24-hour no phone challenge.
Oh, interesting.
Put it on Do Not Disturb. I do have emergency contacts that can break through Do Not Disturb if there is, you know, something that happens. So, you know, if someone's going to take on this challenge, you know, calculate it right. That you can set, you know, your parents, you know, your spouse, whatever, your children can break through this. But I put on Do Not Disturb 24 hours from 7 p.m. to 7 p.m. the next night. It was fantastic.
That is awesome.
It really benefited.
It was funny because we have a group chat of 7 of us, Kevin's included.
Yes, of course.
And everyone's like, Kevin's gone ghost. Like, no one could get a hold of Kevin. Yeah. And it was interesting.
Right over there?
But actually, like, after you called me, because he, like, called me shortly a little bit
after the challenge expired.
And he let me know what he had just went through.
It was great. It was great.
And I think it's inspiring. Like, you know, and that's getting back to the roots of humanity. Screens and all the touch phones that didn't exist when I was born.
Yeah.
Like, I know.
None of us were born.
No,
like,
exactly.
That was not around. Like you had wired phones. You had landlines. You had
which I still like know like my home phone number from growing up, which doesn't even exist anymore.
Oh, I do
like
too.
You know.
I still remember my home phone number.
817-735-8080.
Oh, so definitely weird. From Texas.
Yeah.
Yeah.
603-569-6717.
It's the funniest thing, you know. And like I remember like in like I would get up during the summertime, go ride my bike to like the nearest little pool, and like I'll be there all day long. My parents had no idea what I was doing. I mean, I guess they could have called me at the pool or whatever, but like and I'd come home like after it got dark.
Yeah.
No one even
old school rules.
Yeah, no one even worried about it.
And that's living in the present, and it's so important to have those moments, even if you're looking at your phone and you have 3 hours of phone time, and like which might be a little excessive. I'm probably in that bucket right now, but when you do have those moments where you intentionally put down your phone and then you start accomplishing things like, oh, wait, actually I could start a load of laundry, or I've been looking at that stain on the wood floor for a couple days now, and then you
whatever
spend
it is, yeah,
30 seconds cleaning that, and it's like,
and
oh,
it's
well,
done.
that's better.
Yeah.
And it's just even 10, 20 minutes, maybe it turns into an hour with like your 10-minute challenge that you like to do, Kev.
Yeah, the 10-minute challenge is a good one.
So Kevin has a challenge. It's
Okay.
10 minutes. You try to accomplish as many things as you can within that 10 minutes. And what that ends up doing is it bleeds over, and then you just start achieving things.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right? So I think that's great, and you have to put down your phone to do that.
You do, yeah. No, that's why I love the 10-minute challenge, and I don't know if you've heard me talk about that on the show before, but a lot of folks are like, oh, I don't want to do the dishes tonight. Maybe I don't want to turn the laundry over. Just give yourself 10 minutes.
Right.
Put 10 on the clock. Whatever it is, you got, clean the dishes, turn
Yeah.
the laundry over, whatever. Take the trash out. If you get that done in 10 minutes, you could have wasted all that time just scrolling social media.
For sure.
10 minutes out of the day is not much to get some things done around the house.
No, it's not. Actually, today it was funny. I looked at my husband. I'm like, man, I just feel like a blob today. I mean, I literally got back yesterday, and I was just so tired. And I honestly didn't really do much today. But I'm like, okay, I'm really bad. I'm like, tomorrow's the day, tomorrow. But really, it has to be tomorrow, because I kind of get part of my anxiety. I like a clean house. I just like a clean house.
That's how I am.
I love it, and whenever it's not in order,
Gives
it
you
gives
anxiety.
me a lot of anxiety.
Same here.
Yeah.
I think Art's the same way.
Yes.
And so tomorrow, kiddo was supposed to go to daycare today, but since it was my first day back, I was like, I just want to keep him home and play in the snow and whatever.
Which
So
is fun.
It was so fun.
Yeah.
And so he's going to daycare tomorrow. I'm like, tomorrow, I'm gonna do all the laundry that I'm gonna do, finally unpack, finally put things away, do the things that I need to do.
It's so satisfying, though.
It is. It's
Especially
so satisfying.
once you're done, and then you relax and,
it's even
look
better.
at your phone for 30 minutes.
I always light a candle when I clean.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know. It just gets it.
I put my
Gets me
wax
in the mood.
melter on, so I
Okay.
start to smell the aromas a little bit. Yeah. Get the Swiffer wet jet out. And
Yeah, there you
I'll
go.
put on some 80s music and start doing the dance.
Oh yeah, always got to put the music.
If I'm really inspired, I listen to what my mom listened when I was a kid growing up, and that's like
Really?
Seal and REM and
Really?
all
Seal.
that kind of stuff. You bump the old school.
That's awesome.
And then you get it in.
That's
Yes.
perfect.
It's fun. It's
That is
fun.
very fun.
Cleaning to the oldies, highly recommend it.
Yeah.
There's
That
just
is-
something about it. It's
that's fun.
nostalgic.
I usually clean to I don't know. I don't even know what I usually clean to. I just kind of put on whatever I'm feeling at that moment, I guess.
What's
But,
your go-to? What was your most listened to song in 2022?
and
or artist?
I think this is slightly embarrassing, but I think it was probably Taylor Swift.
So T Swizzle.
No, she's super talented.
Oh, T Swizzle is. I mean, much
I
respect.
She
love
writes
Taylor Swift.
a bunch of songs. She's one of the most talented songwriters.
I agree. No argument.
Yeah, in the current time.
Either them or her. So I also listen to. So my husband is super into Fish.
Okay.
Really,
Fish.
really Fish, like the jam band Fish.
Oh,
okay, I was thinking fishing.
No, Fish.
Fish,
The jam band
yes.
Fish.
PHISH.
PHIS. And so off of that, I've kind of gotten into a lot of bluegrass. So I listen
I love
to.
bluegrass.
Okay, have you ever listened to the Wood Brothers?
I have.
I love the Wood Brothers.
There's so many bluegrass bands with the name Brothers after, like the Punch
Yeah.
Brothers.
I love the Wood
Traveling
Brothers.
McCourys.
Okay.
But yeah, continue.
I also love Green Sky Bluegrass.
Okay. How about Billy Strings? Are you into Billy Strings?
So we're actually going to this concert.
Are you?
Yeah, on
He
February
is
3rd.
incredible.
I'm really excited about it. These people who watched our dogs a few weeks back, we started chit-chatting about stuff anyways. They ended up having extra tickets, so we bought tickets from them. So going to Billy Strings. Got a babysitter. Super pumped.
That's
Oh, yeah.
super exciting.
Bluegrass is so much fun. Telluride Bluegrass Festival. I haven't done it yet, but I'm going to do it.
I was just talking about that last night, literally.
Yeah.
I was like, I want to do that so bad.
It's one of the greatest festivals in the
I want
country.
to go so bad.
Yeah.
Love bluegrass.
Bluegrass is a lot of fun.
I hear it's wild. Like that
You saw
people-
some bluegrass with me.
Yeah, no, but I hear that Telluride gets.
Telluride's
gets
nuts.
like,
Oh, sure.
It's a wild
It's the
time.
Woodstock of bluegrass.
Yeah. I was kind of looking at the lineup. I'm like, man, that's a pretty fire lineup. Be a lot of fun.
Dirks usually makes a sneak appearance.
I think that's what I saw, actually, on there.
Dirks is fantastic. Yeah, he's got a new record coming out. I'm excited to listen to it. He's still ripping.
That'd be cool.
Up on the Ridge was my favorite record that he dropped, which is the Bluegrass album. But I love Dirks. I mean, he's still probably one of my favorite country music artists, if not of all time.
I grew up on country, so I still love country. Still love, red dirt, Texas country.
Yes.
Cody Jinks. Love Cody Jinks.
I'll have to check into that.
You don't know Cody Jinks?
No.
He's from Fort Worth.
Really?
Oh, we're gonna have
Oh my gosh! Now I'm really embarrassed.
we're gonna have to have a conversation after the app.
Okay, I'm looking forward to this because I'm always looking for
You've
new
heard
music.
of him. I guarantee you've heard him.
you've heard it. You've heard.
I'm
a song or
sure.
two.
Okay,
Yeah.
well, I'm looking forward to this because I'm always looking for new music, and especially if he's from Fort Worth, that's amazing.
He's a Fort Worth musician. I saw him at Red Rocks. Sold out.
What?
Yeah, we're going to have to talk about this once we wrap the show.
Okay.
Well, and on that note, we love.
I'm sure my
we love
mom's
what
listening
you
to this,
do.
and I'm sure she's heard of him, and she's like, Kelcy.
She knows Cody James.
Yeah.
She's like, how have you not heard of that?
Mama's gonna be like, I'm daughter. I know. I'm gonna teach you. But I mean, it's such a pleasure having you in, and for everybody listening out there, it's important to like make those little connections, because if it wasn't for a quick introduction on a plane and just being authentic people and being genuine, this conversation would have never happened.
I know. I love it. I'm so happy to be here. Thank y'all for having me.
And great advice for humanity. I love it.
Thank y'all. I honestly, I really appreciate the invite. I was really nervous about coming on. I've never been on podcast before, so I really appreciate the invite.
Oh, you crushed it.
Yeah, you did amazing.
Thank you.
Yeah.
It was a lot of fun. A lot of fun talking to you guys.
It's fun just hanging out, having some drinks, and like Art said, I mean, we bumped into you on an airplane. Art was a little aggressive with handing out stickers. He likes to do that.
Hey, it
Marketing
worked.
manager.
It's great. And I've listened to you guys though since I met y'all, so it worked.
Thank you for the support. We appreciate that.
Yeah.
That's awesome. No, look, once you're in our wheelhouse, there's no getting out. So you will be seeing more of us, and our listeners and viewers will probably be seeing more of you.
That's perfect. I would love to be back.
So we're going to keep this train moving, guys. We got some big announcements coming down the pipeline. Stay tuned on that. Happy Friday coming your way tomorrow, of course. Can't wait to be there with John Ekstrom. Art, always a good time. We're going to get rowdy. We're going to have some fun. You already know, be good to yourselves.
You deserve it.